Children see things adults can't. Some call it imagination. Others whisper about the paranormal. But what happens when multiple kids in the same hospital all describe the exact same doctor? A doctor who doesn't exist anymore. It was a quiet night in the pediatric ward. The fluorescent lights flickered, casting pale shadows across the hallways. Machines hummed softly and nurses shuffled quietly between rooms. It felt like any other night shift, exhausting, endless, and predictable. But what happened that week would stay with the staff forever. A 6-year-old boy recovering from pneumonia called for the night nurse. When she entered the room, the boy smiled and said, "The tall doctor with the glasses already came by. He told me I'll get better soon." Confused, the nurse checked the logs. No doctor had visited that room all night. In fact, there hadn't been a male doctor on duty in that ward since the previous afternoon. The boy insisted. He had a white coat. He had a stethoscope. He said his name was Dr. Roberts. At first, the staff dismissed it as a child's imagination. But the next night, a different patient, a young girl with asthma, described the same doctor. Same glasses, same calm smile, same stethoscope hanging around his neck. The staff began to whisper among themselves. Who were these kids seeing? And why did none of the adults ever catch sight of him? By the third night, 2 more children spoke of the same visitor. One described him sitting at the end of the bed, reassuring them. Another said he came only when the ward was quiet. It wasn't only the children. One night, a nurse on rounds heard soft footsteps echoing through the corridor. She turned the corner and saw the faint figure of a man in a white coat moving quickly past the double doors. Thinking it was a colleague, she followed, only to find the hallway completely empty. Shaken, she returned to the nurse's station. The others laughed nervously, but no one could explain why the children described the same doctor she believed she'd just seen. One boy, only 8 years old, asked the question that froze everyone's blood. "Boy, why does the doctor always go into the rooms of the really sick kids?" The staff realized the sightings weren't random. The mysterious doctor appeared only to the children whose conditions were most severe. Some improved, some didn't. Finally, one of the nurses gathered the courage to ask a child directly, "Nurse, what's the doctor's name? Do you remember what he told you?" Without hesitation, the child replied, "Child, Dr. Roberts." The nurse felt her stomach drop. She knew that name. Dr. Jonathan Roberts had been a beloved pediatrician in that very hospital, but he had died more than 20 years earlier, in the same ward. The next morning, the staff searched old archives and found a faded black and white photo of Dr. Roberts hanging forgotten in a dusty file. They showed it to the children. One by one, their eyes lit up. "That's him. That's the doctor who visited me." No one could explain how kids, who had never seen that photo, could describe him so perfectly. And since then, staff say, on certain nights when the ward grows silent, you can still hear the echo of his footsteps. Some doctors never leave their patients.